My slow computer, don't fail me now. When you try to do a couple quick things before it goes live, and
And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Go Home Wrestling Show pop-up show. I'm your host, DJ, along with my partner in crime, D-Shep. Say hello to everyone in chat. Hopefully.
that was an awkward hello, but I'll do it again.
There you go. And what a weekend. What a weekend.
Best weekend ever.
It was wrestling-wise, but Saturday night wasn't for me personally, as we were supposed to do a show on Saturday night. Power went out due to a storm. Didn't realize the area is bad with power. Mama's Got Game, welcome to the chat. Of course, you can call into the show. There you go. 720-835-5007.
You said call into the show and that son of a bitch started reading right away. That would have been like, wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was actually something else. I think it's a robocall because it's a number I don't recognize and it's close to me, and usually that's what it means. Sorry about that, folks. And Saturday night we were supposed to go live. Power went out. Didn't get it restored till 4:30 in the morning, so couldn't do the show. So here we are today talking about NXT and the news that came out during Money in the Bank. We will discuss. Oh, there's a kitty cat right there. My ADD just got the best of me right there. We got Money in the Bank. We'll talk about that Saturday night. And so we got the big news about the Australia tour that they're going to be doing in October. And then let's start the show off with NXT. Man, oh man, could it get any better than what it was?
I don't think it could have.
It was great. It was. Oh, you got real low out of nowhere. You're really low. I don't know what happened. And we ain't changed nothing on my end. Clyde22, thank you for the follow. No, you're low all of a sudden. Yeah, that's odd. Now, is anyone else having trouble? I'm sorry to... Yeah, it's something. Yeah, because you're coming out fine on my end. What did you just do? Yeah. There you go. Talk now.
Okay.
There you go. You're good. You're good. You're good. There we go.
I'm not gonna lean forward the rest of the show now.
Is that what happened?
I don't know. I did something. Before we get into the individuality of the whole show.
Yeah, sure.
Just from top to bottom, every guy that came out to the ring, you just felt every emotion, every move, every action from beginning to end. And I cannot tell you, maybe ever, if I watched any show where you just felt that for the entire show. It was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I tweeted that yesterday. It was the perfect display of professional wrestling I have ever seen.
No, exactly. You
in
felt
years.
The story being told in each match as the match was going on, and the guys didn't even have the trash talk for that. It was just, you felt it with the moves and the setups, and it was just unbelievable.
Yeah, and you also, there was a lot of, keeping the pace, speeding it up at the right times. It was like textbook wrestling at its finest in every way. What's up, 13200? He's from, which broadcast? I forgot where I saw you in, buddy, because I go in a lot of WWE 2K. And we had our discussion late last week. I would say Thursday or Friday. We We had a good chat about Money in the Bank coming up. Of course, we will be discussing that on Saturday. Today we're talking NXT. So we got your take on the first. McGriff, that's it. That's where I saw you. Speaking of which, give him a follow, Matt Griff, MADGR. You can put the link in chat there. Here, I'll give you. There you go. And Baptismo got that. Nice. All right, so the first match. Dude, I was surprised they started this off. This match in particular was first. I was surprised. I thought it was going to be later in the show, maybe midway. But you know what? It was a great way to kick off the show, and that was the Undisputed Era against Danny Burch and One Lorcan. I can never get that last name, Lorcan. The two Brits.
Was off by that too, yeah. I kept forgetting who was who on that other team.
But again, that was just a textbook tag team match. They should make a corporate video. How to do a tag team match. Here you go. Watch this. Because that was the perfect match to watch. So they got the psychology down. They got the freaking timing down. It was just like, there was nothing that went wrong in that match. Did you see any flaws in that match?
The only flaw was a personal flaw for me, and that was that I had not been watching enough NXT to know the two other guys that well besides Undisputed Era. So I didn't know them that well going into that match.
Yeah.
But then by the end of the match, I felt like I've been watching them for years. It was weird. Like, I couldn't explain how well the story was just told in the ring. I mean, just the little stuff. Even when Homeboy, I forget which one of the dudes got cut on the head, and then he got all angry and looked crazy and looked like almost like a roid out Goldberg.
Oh, no.
It was just he just looked insane, and the whole match, top to bottom, was phenomenal.
Yeah, it definitely was. With the Undisputed Era, I mean, they're continuing on with they obviously won the match, and I don't see that being a one-off. I see that being another match, probably NXT over at Brooklyn. I'm sure they'll go off to SummerSlam, and I feel they'll probably face one another again. It was a great match. I'm sure they're going to revisit that again. I'll be surprised if it's anyone else at this point. But in NXT, I know that you haven't been following. You're just starting to follow that. They're really pushing the War Raiders. That's one tag team in the NXT that they're pushing. They kind of dropped off with the, what was their names? Street Profits. That's it. Street Profits. Yeah. It seems like they were going to push for a second, but then that just tapered away. But it was a great match. It was like nonstop action, but they knew it. Again, the pace was perfect. It didn't become a clusterfuck, because there were moments where all four men were in the ring, but it wasn't a clusterfuck. It was perfectly done. They did it right. And Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong did a perfect job in that match. I can't stress that anymore, that it was just textbook.
Hasn't Roderick Strong, because I remembered a lot when he first started out with NXT to where he is now, he looks like a fucking animal out there now compared to the deer in headlights Roderick Strong you've seen maybe a year and a half or further back. He came a long way.
Yeah, and I think him going to Undisputed Era just brought out more of a character in him. It's funny, like, either going heel or joining a faction could pretty much change your personality. That you
Roman Reigns. What?
Or The Rock. Yeah, you got that right. Oh, man. We'll get into that Saturday with the whole Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal match. I mean...
Yeah, and drunk Charles Robinson last night on Twitter, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll discuss that. I couldn't help but laugh. That's all I could do. Now we'll get into that real quick, and then we'll go back to our NXT.
See, you didn't.
Go ahead.
You didn't need no spoilers with that. When I
knew that was coming.
You seen that tweet? You were like, "How could he be defending that match?" And that's why I called him drunk, because But we'll get into the match in more detail on Saturday.
I'll give you this real quick. I saw a lot of improvement with Jinder. It looked like he carried it a little bit.
That's basically every single Roman Reigns opponent, but yeah, pretty much.
But he wasn't that guy
before.
Before he went to Raw,
No,
he wasn't that guy.
But if you're in that high profile match with Roman, you almost have to be that guy. You're forced to be that guy, and then you see the true talent of a guy like Jinder or somebody else in there with him.
Dude, I got to say, and then we'll get back to NXT, I'm just seeing a big improvement with Jinder Mahal. A year ago, I was seeing him as champion. I was watching a little bit on YouTube. I was slowly getting back into wrestling at that point, and I just didn't think, like, how is he champion? This guy has so many flaws. And a year later, it's like, wow, you see a lot of improvement.
He came a long way.
He has.
A long way.
So
I'm not by no means a fan of the guy, but he, from respect level, he just has come a long way.
Oh, I like the whole little. He's got his little stooge. What is it, Sunil? I love that little thing that happened last night. But again, we'll get into that Saturday. I don't want to go too far ahead. So yeah, with the Undisputed Era, I mean, it was a great story told in the ring. And I hope this isn't a one-off. It was just a great way to start the show. It was a great way to start the show.
Exactly.
And then you go from that to another great match. It's like, oh, here's this classic tag team match, and then, oh, here's another good singles match that we're going to give to you. So, all right, you calm down, but we're going to get you revved up again. And that was the Ricochet Velveteen Dream match. Now, you not being familiar with NXT, what were your first thoughts of that match?
My first thought was, holy fuck, it's Patrick from Tough Enough. That was my first thought. And then I was like, no fucking way. He's like a 2018 version of Goldust. Got the Hollywood persona. Yep. He's got a little bit of the fruity side act stuff, but not over the top like Goldust back in the day. Naturally, you can't do that shit no more. But I was highly impressed. Now, Ricochet did what Ricochet does. You know you're getting a more seasoned guy when you get him. Yeah. But the blend that them two had, the chemistry between a guy so seasoned and a guy really just starting out, to me was the most surprising aspect. Yeah, people knew it was going to be a good match going into it, but just from the chemistry point of things, I thought they blended just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it was. And it was a perfect story of one-upping each other. That was the whole angle going into that matchup, was that anything you could do, I could do better. And that was that classic flip that you see in the intro of the show, is where he flips over that rope and says, show me. It was just a great story that they told leading up.
You know the best part about that, I thought, speaking on that?
What's that?
Was that they didn't overdo that. Trying to step over each other or do each other's moves too much. It was a spot here, then a few 2, 3, 4 minutes of wrestling, and then maybe another spot of something a guy did. They didn't do it too much, and I think they did a very good job pacing it and spreading it out.
Well, I'm with you on that. Because it reminded me of something. I was going to say this, too. It reminded me of something back in the day. Let's go back to 1990. And that was the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior. You can't remember WrestleMania? Yeah. It was who's the most powerful at this part? And then about 10 minutes later, they show another, test of strength. Who's the stronger guy? It was kind of like that psychology. It's like, you're going to pick certain parts of the matchup where you're going to try to one-up each other and not the whole match. It was a perfect balance right there.
Because if they just did that the whole match, match is trash.
Yeah, it would have got boring pretty quick. And it just... and I loved... speaking of Hulk Hogan, he had that Hulk Hogan trunks, the Velveteen Dream. I did like that.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Came down with the bow. Oh, man. It was awesome. When he came out to that, I was like, you know what? I like this guy. But out of the two, I got my question for you. Between those two, from the match you saw, which one would you think has the bigger future in the company? What's up, Great One?
I thought about this because I seen that on your rundown right away, and I thought about it ever since I seen your rundown when you first sent that to me earlier. Yeah. And I think you got to break it into two different parts. I think in the short term, immediate impact, you go with Ricochet just because he's more seasoned.
Yeah.
But you see how invested Velveteen Dream, Patrick, whatever you want to call it, Kappa, how invested he is in that character. I think longevity wise is going to have the more long term impact. But
Exactly. I think so too.
Ricochet is going to have the more short term effect. And speaking on this, I was talking about this a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
When it came to Velveteen Dream, might have been this morning. I can't remember for sure. I'm a little loopy sometimes, but
yeah.
If I'm calling Velveteen Dream up to the main roster, what better way to have him face Goldust in his debut, or just at least come out and just take him out? I mean, you got the Hollywood thing against Goldust Hollywood thing. You got the persona that's a little milder version. It could be a great stepping stone to even slide him low key into the Intercontinental title race damn near right away. I'm not saying he's there right now. I'm just saying.
Oh no, he's got a lot of work to do. But I can see that.
6 months, a year, 2 years, however long it is from now, have him go up against a guy like Goldust right away, and then it'll catapult him. I definitely see Ricochet going up first, though.
And you know what?
No doubt.
It's funny that you said that because
it's fair.
I was thinking the same thing as far as the whole Goldust thing. And if he has the longevity of Goldust, because look at that guy, he's in his late 40s and he's still going. And he's not showing any signs of slowing down. So if you got a Velveteen Dream with the same type, people will say, oh, he's ripping him off. No, because it's a unique take. It's a 2018 take of what you...
What about if he's not ready to debut on the main roster yet? What if we just get a surprise Royal Rumble appearance from him? And then he just
like they did with Cole.
And then he just happens to eliminate Goldust, and then they revisit it whenever he does get called up to the main roster. I think, oh man, the possibilities would be, I hope they go that route.
We'll see. I mean, but you know what? A lot of people talking about with the show that happened this weekend, and we're only into the second match, but we'll go down to further down the card as we go along in the show. But real quick, I wanted to talk about, there's been a lot of chatter on the internet about, why don't they just keep people down there? And they occasionally bring in a guy from the main roster down to there. And like they did with the ECW, make that a third brand. At first I was like, and then what are they going to do for developmental? But you can still use that. But they will also get the experience where you have the guys from the main roster come down, and then you get that experience even quicker. So not only you get used to the guys in that level, but you could also wrestle the veterans and gain more knowledge. I think it would be good for them to do that. Make it a third brand.
Yeah. If you have a plan to send, let's say, 4 to 6 guys up to the main roster, send 4 to 6 or even more back down there, guys that you're maybe not utilizing much. I think Revival could benefit hugely from going back down because they lost so much momentum with their injuries last year. No one gives a fuck about them on the main roster.
Yeah.
Even a team like Ascension, if you're just talking tag teams, for instance, Ascension can do great things down there for a short term, help a nice young team out going up against them.
Yeah, and it seems like NXT is still like embracing the tag team, as WWE is not so much embracing the tag team division. 13200 says Dream is a good wrestler, but it seems slow for me. I could see that, but that's his style. But you know what? If you could pace it, look how he was that slow, with that pace, but he sped it up at the right times. He, for the most part, has that down pretty good so far. Velveteen Dream's able to move slow, but speed it up when he wants to speed it up. And you've seen it in a match with Ricochet. So I get what you're saying, 13, but I think he can speed it up when he wants to and when he needs to. It doesn't always have to be, balls to the wall, high octane going quick the whole time. You're going to wear out quick. It's psychology.
But isn't part of that, I don't want to say the NXT problem, because I do like the fact that NXT does this, but they try to tell stories in the ring as opposed to promos like on the main roster. So sometimes you almost have to do the slower pace so that the story's more impactful.
You got it right. You hit the nail right on the head.
Because you don't have that same time. I'll get a minute, sweetie. You don't have that same time to tell a story, you have to do it in the ring. So if you don't have Velveteen Dream doing all his little antics in between the spots, what's the story being told then?
You hit the nail right on the head there. Psychology, telling the story. That is something that you don't see a lot. You don't see that a lot. You don't see that a lot with the main roster. It's like a Money in the Bank match. You're going to see a bunch of high spots. That's the point of the match. But
yeah,
what, you need to turn the ball?
I'll go into.
Hey, I got to step off camera for a second.
No, go ahead.
I'll still have the headset on.
It's more old school as far as in-ring psychology. You are right, great one. Now, anyone could get your point across. Call 720-835-5007. When you hit that, make sure you hit that PIN number 16790. The reason we offer you that is that you can talk to us instead of just typing in chat like the great one and 13200. That's in the Twitch chat. And you can talk to both of us. And if you guys would both like to call in, you can call in because we accept more than one person in this. That's why we do this conference call. It's a way of having multiple phone lines, if you will. But, yeah, NXT is the more old school, and we discussed this on the last show, that NXT is like, because think of the two people that are running NXT and running SmackDown right now. Two guys that are influenced by the NWA, and that is Triple H and William Regal on the NXT level, and then your SmackDown level is Road Dogg. Three guys influenced by the NWA, three guys that understand this style of wrestling is still huge, and it is a crowd, the audience, they forgot about as far as Raw is concerned. They forgot about that crowd, and that's why you're seeing like Raw.
Since we're trying to get advertisers someday.
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna do a little shameless plug right quick.
Okay, Mick Foley, go ahead.
The greatest fucking snack of all time.
Right here. And throw it off for you. But, no, I get what you're saying, great one. They are better as far as wrestling, psychology. It just, they give them, the thing I noticed that, oh my God, that's loud.
Well,
that's
I
cool.
can do this.
Oh, no, don't.
Love it.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
It never stops being a father.
Oh, no, it's fine. That crackling sound.
You get to pause it every now and then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know.
It never stops.
Oh, no, I understand. It's fine. No,
I just looked up right when you did the look on your face when I did the crunch thing, and kind of disturbed me a little bit. Yeah.
What, this?
Oh, do it again.
Oh, no, don't. I hate crackling sound. No. All right, something you learned about me today. Well, you could torture me if you wanted to.
Hey, if you want torture, zoom in on this right quick. We ain't got no eyebrows right now. We had a fuck up the other night. I had an argument with a beard trimmer, and I went up in there like I always do because I get really bushy eyebrows. And I put a big gouge in one of them, so then I had to shave both of them off, or I would have looked retarded. So,
okay,
yeah. We're going for the deranged serial killer look this week.
Hey, whatever
I'm trying
works.
to build character like NXT.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. All right.
Now, what would your character be from?
Instead of the Virgin Islands, it'll be the Pervin Islands.
Okay. So you're going to be like sexual chocolate, but...
Sexual talking, but I'm going to look like Gene Snitsky.
I can go with that.
Snitsky.
Okay.
Didn't they have him at one time with no eyebrows, I think?
Yeah, they did.
And what was his saying? It ain't my fault.
Yeah, it's because he knocked down Lita, causing for her to have a miscarriage, and that's where the line came out that it's not my fault. And they kind of went with that for about a year, and then it's like, okay, this guy really sucks. Let's let him go.
That was a very underrated dude, though. I have to throw that out there. Yeah,
good character, just horrible in the ring. Once the bell rang, that was it for him. In my opinion. People can think different. From the darkest corner of your mind, that's awesome.
Not jumping too far ahead, between just the pure look-wise, I don't know who creeps me out more, Gene Snitsky or Lars Sullivan.
Lars
Just as a little
Sullivan.
preview for later. Jesus Christ, that's one ugly motherfucker.
But good in the ring.
Okay.
All right, so here we go.
Where are we at?
We were back now. Yeah, this went off the rails pretty quick, but we're back on. We're going to get back on the tracks. So we went on Ricochet. That was a great match. So you went from a tag team match to the Ricochet match. Then we go on to the women's match. Now, there's not much to say about it. Then they didn't give it enough time to build the story, and it was just over before you know it. And dude, it was a good build to it, and there was no payoff, in my opinion. That's where they screwed up.
This was honestly, this was a main roster style match. You had more of a build-up through the promos and the run-ins than the actual match. This felt like a WWE women's match. It did not feel like an NXT women's match anymore. Everything was about the theater of it all, and not about telling the story in the ring, and that's why it fell flat.
Well, that's a lesson they did learn, because that's how it is on the roster. And just didn't give it enough time. And dude, I've been watching the build up leading up to that takeover, and it was like a perfect build up. You know, you showed that it just like Strowman, there was a weakness with the women's champion, and going into the match, it's like, okay, let's see how this goes. You know, it's a nice build. She's freaked out on the last.
I felt bad for Nikki Cross because I think she's got talent. I felt bad for her in that scenario. I feel like she didn't have enough time to show off that character in that match either.
No, and before you know it, that was over. 11 minutes. So what was it, 11, 12 minutes? It was gone. It was done. It was over. And I get why, because they don't want to go too long. They still had 2 more matches. They were coming up on the 2-hour mark, because the first 2 matches alone were two matches alone were about a half hour.
Here's the only problem with that logic: if you're going to do that and you're going to rush a match one night, and then you have Money in the Bank the next night, and it goes 25 minutes too long, then where's the logic? You own the network. Give the matches their allowed time, and if stuff runs late, it runs late. Who the fuck cares if I see a rerun of Legends House or Marquee Matches or some other dumb shit? I'd rather the match gets the time it deserves.
No, you're right with that. And yeah, it did go like 25 minutes too long. Man. There was a couple matches that could have went a few minutes. Even though Money in the Bank was a great card, and we'll go into that. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It went too long. But then this one, it's like, oh, why can't you allow them 10 more minutes? Instead of 2 hours and 42 minutes, which the show was, why don't you make it 2 hours and 52 minutes or close to the 3-hour mark? What they were trying to do, I think what they were trying to do.
Remember when the pay-per-views used to end 20 minutes or a quarter to 10, and now they don't end until half hour after most of the time?
Isn't that how Monday Night Raw is too? They're already 3 hours, and then they go over.
But I don't need to watch another extra half hour when the pay-per-view already went from 3 to 4 hours long. It's too much. That would be my only complaint from this weekend, is that it was just a little too much of a good thing. And
NXT is the perfect amount, because it went from 4 hours with what you saw, or 4.5 last night with Money in the Bank, to 2 hours and 42 minutes with NXT, which is the traditional pay-per-view back in the day with WWE.
Every match is so impactful, because you don't got the term throwaway matches don't apply to NXT.
No, that's why
there's not throwaway matches. Even the women's match that sucked, it still wasn't a throwaway match, though. It was still a title match at the end of the day.
Well, think about this. Adam Cole, a North American champion, didn't even defend his title last night. Or the other night. He didn't defend the title. So, you got EC3 that's been doing phenomenal so far. And no match.
Yet the only match he got last night was a screenshot in the crowd. I'm like, okay, didn't we see that when he debuted it? And we're still showing screenshots even though he's been on TV?
Yeah.
It just seemed weird.
Well, you know what? It could be the build to the NXT Brooklyn. So you're going to probably see half the people that were in this one. They're not going to be in the next one. Adam Cole will probably defend his title in that one. Tag team titles probably go on the line. Of course, Aleister Black, or whoever his next opponent is. I'm pretty sure it might be a round 2 of Lars Sullivan. Unless if they go another direction, we'll see where they go with that.
What if we go a champion versus champion match? Cole versus.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you went silent for a second. Go ahead. Say that again.
I said what if we get a champion versus champion match and we get Black versus Cole?
That would never happen. I don't think they want to go down that route. I don't know. It could be wrong. I just don't think they would go that route right now with them. It's like two different.
You could see EC3 getting one of those matches maybe, but he can't have both.
North American. You have a better match with Adam Cole.
Well, yeah, obviously speaking, but who then is left for Black to face?
At this point, I don't know. I guess that's what we're going to have to see. Like they wanted to see how Lars Sullivan would react, like how he would perform in this situation. He was never brought up to this level yet, like a main event. Well, it was co-main event of the evening. This was his, spotlight, and they wanted to see how he did in it. And in my opinion, we'll get into it next. I think he did really good. I think he had a great match with Aleister Black. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. 13200 says Adam Cole was all booked up this week. Give him a day off. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. No, that was my point. 13200 is that it was to go along with his point that they could have threw Adam Cole in there with anyone, and it probably would have been a great match, but there was no build to it. And they kind of do that in the main rosters, that they throw a way match that has nothing to do, like they had no time to build it up. They just put it in, and there you go, enjoy. I mean, pay-per-views are payoffs to a storyline.
The only way something like that could have maybe been pulled off is if he went out there with some kind of open challenge, and it was either some kind of returning guy or some debut, and then you could have maybe got away with a short match. I
think it was better without him for this one. Save him for the next takeover, which is, 2 months anyway, so just save it until then. Yeah. Going on from the women's match, it wasn't long enough. We got our feelings on that. It was still a decent match, but I wish they had more time to tell a story. And then we go on to the fourth match of the evening. That was the Aleister Black and Lars Sullivan match. And of course, if anyone has their opinions on the match, you can call into the show, okay? It is 720-835-5007. When you get into there, hit the pin number 16790, and you can come in and chat with us. You don't have to type in the chat. And I hear a noise. Oh, I wonder who's next for Sean. Oh, well, I guess we'll find out, too. And that's the beauty part. They got 2 months to build. And that is the beauty part with NXT as well. It gives them more time to build a storyline.
That definitely helps.
Yeah, look at a Velveteen Dream Ricochet. The build on that was better than the build of the Lashley and Zayn, which went 6 weeks too long. And by the way,
Jesus.
You know what? I'm not going to get into that.
Can I throw one snippet?
We're having a hard time not talking about Money in the Bank, but go ahead.
I need one. How disrespectful to a shitty-ass feud to begin with, then at the very end, Bobby Lashley covers him with one hand. Like, if the whole feud wasn't an insult enough, that is what ended the feud.
It was a good squash match. It was a squash match. That's what it was. And you know what? That goes along what we said. But again, we'll get into that Saturday. We keep going into Money in the Bank. Oh man, Sammy lost.
It's hard not to.
It is disrespectful though, but it kind of hurt his character a little bit. But again, we'll get into that Saturday. NXT's today. So going into it, Aleister Black, Lars Sullivan. Again, you call the show. The number's right above my head. Pin number 16790. There you go. Great match between the two big guys. I was surprised because to me, I've always felt the big guy matches is like, okay. Oh, Kane and Big Show, yay. Okay.
Yeah. And there was a little of that in this.
A little bit.
The action was a little more athletic than I was expecting.
That's
initially.
where it got me.
And mainly on Black's end, obviously.
Oh, Sullivan showed some athleticism. Oh,
Yeah,
God, get it out there.
He sat on that top turnbuckle that one time and looked like he was about to have a heart attack up there. But yeah,
But
he
hey,
did not look like he was comfortable. Up
no,
there,
he didn't. But you know what? That was a good thing for him. He tried something, and it actually turned out not bad. It was not bad for him to try. I was into the match. I was into it. At first, I was looking at it. It's like, oh, it's going to be like a big show. Kane match. Yay.
Yeah, I was into it, but I wasn't emotionally invested like the rest of the card.
Well, I think you would have to follow the build to that match. And if you were watching the show, you would have felt that way because the build to the match was actually pretty good. It was. Aleister Black was a guy that was on top of the mountain. He was like one of those guys like a Braun Strowman, felt like he couldn't be touched. And then here comes along a bigger guy, Lars Sullivan, and it's like, okay, now you got to stop me. And I don't think this is going to be a one-off. I think they might be a rematch in the next takeover coming up in 2 months for SummerSlam. But that remains to be seen. Oh, it was a great match. Now, did that match, though, after seeing the match, did you think that it legitimized Black's title reign?
I don't know if it necessarily legitimized it, but it maybe got you more invested into it, yeah, from that point of view. I think it helped him also that match did not close the show. Because if that match was closing the show after a hot match of, say, if the matches were flip-flop last night, the last two matches, I don't know if the reaction to Black would have been as strong as it was because fans would have burnt themselves out. I think they definitely benefited from placing that match where they did on the card.
Mm-hmm.
So, coming off the women's match, everybody was down. So not everybody was so amped up for this Black and Sullivan match that when the stuff did happen that was, exciting for the fans, they got into the show starting with this match. So I think in the long run, man, they nailed it out of the park with putting on the match when they did.
Yep. Yeah, no, and the show, I mean, it was a great match. I think Black came out even more over with the fans. And, yeah, it really helped him because he knocked out the bigger guy. But, again, I don't think it's a one-off. I really don't see it being a one-off. I see it a rematch.
I'd be okay. Speaking on one-off, I don't think Velvet Dream and Ricochet is over either.
Oh no. It could be possible. That could be a rematch too for.
We might just call it NXT Takeover rematches.
Just for them two, and then you had a few like Adam Cole defend his title, and probably another tag
Cole
team match.
Versus EC3. I could get
that would be a great match between them two. But of course, we got 2 months to see it. Watch NXT to follow up and see where they go with that. I can't wait.
Honestly, since we're about to talk about it anyway, I don't need anything else in NXT. Just keep putting on Gargano and Ciampa.
Tommaso Ciampa
let the boys,
and Gargano.
Let them do what they do.
Dude, you cannot go a Chicago show without a street fight. And they exactly did that. Two best guys to do that with a great angle, which is probably the best angle in wrestling right now, and that's Gargano and Ciampa. And how do you settle that? A Chicago street fight. And from bell to bell, I was glued. I was completely glued.
Yeah, they nailed everything.
Yeah,
perfectly.
Dude, it's like we're sucking their dick. They can't. I can't be hurt, can I?
Yeah, I'd almost want to.
No. I know you got your kid around. I don't know if your kid can hear me.
No, they're not in the room.
Okay. Just making sure. It's like it seems like we're sucking the dick of the NXT, but we're really not. Okay. It just they did everything
we
perfect.
We actually kind of are. It's just we can get banned for that, so we're not trying to get banned for that. So we got to say we're not doing that. But
there you
really
go. Good thinking, partner.
Okay.
Okay. But it does seem like they did everything perfect in that match. They did everything. Everything in that show. The way they placed the matches. The people they put together. The stories they built up to it. It was just everything came together perfectly from start to finish of that show. Start to finish of that match. I was glued. I was invested. And I'll tell you right now. I said it on Twitter. You have said it too. This was the perfect display of professional wrestling I have seen in years. And this was a guy that tapped out for about a decade. And I came back in and go, holy shit. This is what I would like to see every time. And you see that with, a little bit with SmackDown. You've seen it a little bit with Road Dogg. Again, the influence from the NWA. He's an NWA guy. He's a Southern guy. Along with the Armstrongs, which his brothers were part of the NWA. So, you're seeing it. So, Ciampa, how'd you feel about that match? Besides the usual, it was the craziest thing.
I was into everything, but for me, when it kicked into high gear, as cheesy as it was, is when he threw the wedding ring. Because right after that, you knew somehow we were at level 10 before that moment, and we were just about to go past 10.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when they were putting him on the stretcher, you knew at some point he was going to hop down, beat the living holy hell on him, and go apeshit. Just the way he was sitting up on those crates or whatever, and he was looking at his hand, and oh my God, my ring's gone. Now I'm going to go down there and really whoop his ass. And then the only part that I didn't like about the whole thing was the security coming down. Like, that was, if I take one little thing from it, I didn't like that. I'm fine with the actual ending of it. The fact that he was able to beat him with handcuffs on, to me, that was absolutely fantastic.
Well, that was the swerve, though, because it made everyone believe the match was over. After he took that big bump, that was the way, like, oh, come on, what are you doing? This match is over, blah, blah, blah. And then you're thinking the match is over. He continues to beat on Ciampa, and then Ciampa does what he does and gets the win. It was like the biggest swerve. It's like you thought the match was over. You thought they were done with it, and then out of nowhere, Ciampa gets the win. Yeah,
I just don't think you needed to do the security to get that angle, though.
I thought it was good, but I think it was telling you, like, the match is over. I think it threw people off because even people in the crowd were like, wait a minute, what? I thought the match was over. What the fuck is this? The match was over. How did he get the victory?
Yeah. And the ending was phenomenal.
It was. I stood back and went, holy shit. That is an awesome ending. I couldn't believe it. You couldn't. Get him, Jones. Welcome, man. Welcome. We got Get him, Jones, in here. We chatted up. And I think it was also McGrath's stream. Welcome, my friend. But yeah, you couldn't. That was like the best ending for that match. And you know why it was so good? You know why it was so good? Because it's not over.
Oh, God, no.
They could go another match. And it could go to NXT TakeOver in now, right? August. What's that?
They each got to win now?
It's got to be a trilogy. It's got to be the third one.
What? You know what I was thinking at the end of the match last night, too? Here's my ending for it, because you got to figure out the stipulation right. Where do you go from a street fight? I think the only place you can go is the first ever NXT Hell in a Cell match.
Well, you were just beaten with that. 13200 put it in chat. Same thing. At least we're all
motherfucker.
You're all on the same page. There you go. Round of applause.
But no, I did say that this morning though too. So technically, still. But yes, Hell in a Cell, first time ever NXT. It just feels right, don't it?
I agree with you, and I agree with 13. Because what better way? And here's the thing: I don't want to be like the freaking Hell in a Cell matches of the past where they get out and you take the big bump from the top. No, I don't want that.
Stay in the fucking cell the whole time.
Stay in the cage.
If you want to pull out some shit from under the ring, fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. Chairs, tables, thumbtacks, etc. Sure, whatever. Don't leave the cage.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you, my friend. I'm with you on that. Because that's how you would tell the story. I think it'd be more brutal of a match if you keep it in there. Tell the story in there. And the fact that they told such a great story with that street fight, I don't think it'd be a problem. And I hope they go that route. I really hope they go that route. It would be a great ending to it.
What other match stipulation could they even have if it's not Hell in a Cell?
We'll leave that for the chat. See what they got.
I do have one other one.
My
only other thought was a contract match of some kind where it's a ladder match, and whoever wins stays, and whoever...
Oh, like a pink slip match.
Yeah, pink slip match, but really the loser ends up being the winner because the loser is going to probably get called up first, but he has to go off of TV for 2-3 months.
Wow, 13 and 200's got a great 3 stages of hell. Man, more than just one match. You get a couple.
Yeah.
That would be good.
They haven't done one of them in a real fucking long time in WWE.
God, what was it? Austin and Triple H, 2000?
Yeah, because it was no DQ.
Oh.
Then, oh, God.
I lied. No, Triple H, HBK. Armageddon, 2002 or 2002. It was when Shawn Michaels went into the match as the champion. It was a month after he won, when he made his comeback and won at the first Elimination Chamber. That was 16 years ago. I don't think they've had one since. Now, again, I've tapped out for 10 years, so I might have missed things. I've been trying to research things. That's someone on there. You get that often on Periscope. We're on Periscope, too, now. I forgot to mention that.
I just want to say, arriba.
Andale. There you go. That's all we know. Nacho Grande.
Cabron. I know Cabron, too.
Nacho Grande.
I think Cabron's something rude.
It could be. So don't offend the viewer. He might be able to understand English. So let's. Hi, welcome. Welcome.
Yeah, hello. We love you here.
Yeah. There you go.
Jose.
Yeah, that would be great. No, don't worry me. 3 stages of hell. That would be good. And what better way than NXT to bring that back? I don't think could it work today in WWE. Probably not. I mean, AJ Styles could be one guy that could pull it off, but I mean, other than that, maybe him and Orton. But altogether, I like that. That would be a great concept. 3 stages of hell, and maybe the last one being Hell in a Cell that could finish it all. Because you have the best of 3 in there.
Hell in a Cell got to finish it.
Yeah.
So what's the first? Maybe a submission for one of them. Since it's such a heated rivalry, I think a submission. He was known for tapping out the one time, right?
Yeah. So, the last time, yeah. I don't know. That would be awesome. Of course, you could call into the show.
Submission match, no DQ, and then Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's got to finish Hell in a Cell. That would be the final, the trilogy, best of 3, into a rivalry that's a best of 3. One win a piece, third one in the 3 stages of hell. That would be a great way. You know what? God, if I was a booker, that would be it. You know what? 13,200, man, he's got something there. He's really got something there. Good idea.
He's got something for a guy with a name with only numbers. So.
Yep. Submission, last man standing, Hell in a Cell. Ooh. See, I could say submission, last man standing. In the middle of those two, it would be hard to pull off, I think. I agree with submission first fall.
Submission and Hell in a Cell is perfect.
Yeah, those two.
What's the other one?
What's would be? Well, I guess we'll have to figure that out eventually.
What about table match?
Could be. You know what? Yeah, they put that into a couple of the matches. The 2 matches they had, they was brought into play. The build up to a couple of the 2 matches. There was a table involved. That would be a good one.
I'll make some in a little bit. Okay?
Submission table, Hell in a Cell.
I got to get up to make that, so in a little bit, okay? Yeah, whatever. Crazy little.
I'll say first club in the way they'll get that. Yeah, last man stand is more of a finisher. Yeah, Hell in a Cell, there's got to be that third one. But I love that 3 stages of hell. Hopefully.
No, honestly, First Blood could probably happen nowadays on NXT.
Yeah, because that's network. It's not on Fox or USA.
That's a possibility. Unlikely, yes, but possible.
All right. So you like to swerve at the end from this match? Do you we kind of, the storyline isn't over. I don't think it is. I think it's going to go on one apiece. We're going to keep going.
More.
All right. So overall, what would you rate NXT Takeover from 1 to 5, and why?
I can't really do 1 to 5 this week. I gotta go with a 12 out of 10.
Oh, okay. You want to go? It was that good, huh? And honest, we'll answer your question in a second.
I really can't think of anything negative but the women's match, and it really wasn't that bad.
It wasn't for the short time. No, it really wasn't.
But everything else, especially Ricochet match and obviously the closing match, were so over the top amazing that I gave them each one more. So that's why 12 out of 10.
And you know what? And ready for mine? For the fact that you had a great opening tag team match. Textbook tag team match going into the Velveteen Dream and Ricochet. Great singles match, great storytelling, one up in one another, and at the end you had a winner. Going into the women's match, again, was short, but it didn't get much of a story, but it was still a perfectly wrestling match. Going into a match that thought was two big guys going to be boring, but it turned out to be a great world title match between Lawrence Sullivan and Aleister Black into the main event of Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano. Great street fight. Not the end of that rivalry. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving it a perfect 5. I can't see it being any lower. It was the greatest display of professional wrestling I have seen. Probably, I'm not going to lie, more than 10 years, more than 15 years. I would say more than 20 years. I haven't seen something that perfect in a very long time. And that's a great thing to see, as Triple H, the man that's going to eventually take over, is the man behind all this. So anyone that shits on Triple H, that, oh, he's going to ruin the WWE, look at what you saw this past Saturday and think again about that, okay? Because the future is bright for the WWE and NXT. And the answer, honest, 420, they brought up Ellsworth because there might be a possible Andy Kaufman type of intergender champion thing. That's what they're doing. Yeah. Lose some teeth on that first diving headbutt. He actually had one tooth knocked out. Get him, Jones. I did forget that. Had the tooth knocked out. It was loose, and you see him.
So now he's even purtier.
Yeah.
He's even more purty now.
So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, that's in a nutshell. Now, they dropped some news last night in the Money in the Bank. And again, we're going to talk about Money in the Bank Saturday, so make sure you tune in this Saturday night on this very channel. Whatever you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, wherever you watch it, tune in Saturday night, 11 p.m. We're going to be talking about Money in the Bank. This Raw tonight, SmackDown tomorrow. We'll talk about it on Saturday. Tonight was NXT, or today was NXT. And then we're going to go into this. They mentioned a big show coming to Australia in October. Man, and the headline, that show, Triple H and The Undertaker. What do you feel about that? First, the show. It's going to be another, the greatest Royal Rumble. I feel it's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be another, not to use it as a diss term, but it's going to be another glorified house show. But
that glorified house show was good.
The more they keep doing this, though, the more impactful those shows are going to become.
Yeah.
To me, we all know I wasn't the biggest fan of Greatest Royal Rumble. I wasn't. But the more you do shows like that, I like it.
See, well, here's the thing. The last time I enjoyed it, it was a decent show. It had good matches. It had its, moments. Overall, I enjoyed the match. And you know what? It was nothing better than a beautiful Friday afternoon, 12 noon to 5 of wrestling. Dude, that was a gift.
It's a gift as long as you're home to receive said gift. Then yes, it's okay.
I was.
But now they just gave you plenty of notice to make sure you get off work for this.
Now that's what I'm going with. It's not 7 hours ahead this time. It's 14. But then it'll be 14 hours. Man. So if they were to do that at 8 p.m. their time, That would be 6 a.m. here, and that's in the East Coast. So it would be what? Where you're at, what, 5? 5 in the morning? You're 1 hour behind me. So,
Yep.
5 in the morning. It would be essentially close to watching a New Japan pay-per-view live.
You're pretty much eating breakfast when
Yep.
you're watching.
And the Taker's last match, yes, 13, against Triple H.
No. Not Taker's last match. Last match of their feud.
No, I'm saying... No, I thought he meant like last match of the night. Dude, it would be better this time because...
No. Oh, okay. But no, they said it'll be the final meeting between